What if you fell in love with everyone on Earth? A recent study conducted by Rutgers University has identified 3 distinct stages of falling in love experienced by human beings, along with the chemical reactions behind these mysterious processes. To explore their findings in a scientific and respectful context, we've come up with a hypothetical scenario to mess around with, as we ask what would happen if you fell in love with everyone on Earth. Number 3. A billion cold showers. The first stage of love is lust, the unquenchable thirst you have to bone somebody the moment you clasp your eyes on them. This is driven by the sex hormones testosterone and estrogen, produced by your testes and ovaries, which would have to be suppressed if you fell in love with the world. Because, as you should have learned by now, not everyone on Earth wants to have sex with you. Upon waking up on your very first day as the lover of all people, you'd find yourself attracted to folks you would normally have feelings for. Oh, hey Mom, thanks for bringing me breakfast, and wow, do you ever look good today? Is that a new bra? Damn, I wish my arms were broken. This horrible scenario would play out every time you met someone new, and you'd be too stupid to avoid it. Lust is proven to make you dumber, as it turns off parts of the brain linked to critical thinking, rational behavior, and self-awareness. So how can you combat lust? Is there anything you can do to stop yourself flirting with your dad, too? Those of a religious persuasion claim that the best way to repress sexual thoughts is to remember that the Holy Spirit is within you. But if anything, that's going to make you even more hot for action. Who is this Holy Spirit? Are they ripped? How far inside me are they? No, a better bet is to tackle the source of the problem, the chemical imbalance in your brain. In some nations, sexual offenders or those with repeated unwanted sexual thoughts have been successfully treated through chemical castration. This procedure, which involves the injection of aphrodisiac drugs into the patient, reduces their libido without affecting sterility and is reversible if required. You know how Professor Xavier uses that serum to suppress his mutant powers and make his legs work? It's like that if you replace mutant powers with a desire to bang your grandmother. This treatment is suitable for both men and women, and if you fell in love with everyone on Earth, it's pretty much the only way you'd get through the day without landing yourself in jail. But don't think your problems are over just because you've kept your junk in check. Number 2. Sleepy Psycho Ninja Time. The second stage of love, as identified by its chemical effects on the body, is the period of attraction. This stage is distinctly different to lust, as instead of being caused by your junk, it is triggered by the release of chemicals within your brain which control reward behavior, hence why the first few months of a new relationship are often the most exciting. During this period, your brain releases lots of dopamine, causing euphoria, increased energy, and an all-around sense of giddiness. When the brains of love-struck couples were scanned using MRI technology, they were discovered to have felt a spike of dopamine as high as if they'd taken illegal drugs. And while this feeling sounds like nothing to be afraid of, it would probably kill you if you experienced it too often. High levels of dopamine cause you to lose your appetite and sleep less, and super high levels of dopamine have been linked to disorders such as OCD, schizophrenia, paranoia, and psychosis. So I guess that means that if you fell in love with the whole world's population, you'd turn into an unhinged, skinny lunatic wandering about in a daze. Maybe that's how zombies are made. Or perhaps psycho-murderers are just madly in love with their victims. Dopamine isn't the only chemical at play, though, as your levels of serotonin and adrenaline are also notably affected during the initial period of attraction. Serotonin levels drop, contributing to your lack of hunger and tiredness by focusing attention on your new lover. In this case, that's everyone in the world, and if this process is repeated, you'll end up in a bad place. Very low serotonin levels are associated with depression and anxiety. So if you're in love with the whole world, you'll eventually develop some sort of super depression and the anxiety equivalent of 1 trillion Michael Sarahs. Conversely, your adrenaline goes up during this phase, heightening the fight-or-flight feeling experienced during dangerous situations. This will boost your sensitivity to the world around you, making your reaction times super sharp. Is that a good thing when you're anxious and psychotic? Probably not. Oh well, at least this feeling won't last forever. Number 1. Dem feels. Without proper stimulation, the feeling of attraction will dissipate unless you experience the behaviors required to enter the third stage of love, attachment. Bonding with another human being to complete the love cycle requires actual physical contact, since this releases 2 more chemicals which solidify your commitment to that person. The first is oxytocin, also known as the cuddle hormone. This type of brain juice is released in equal amounts by men and women during sex. So if you've managed to avoid sleeping around with the Earth's population, you should be able to avoid it. And that's probably a good thing. Oxytocin forges a deep feeling of need for someone when its release is linked to their presence. It is also produced when women give birth or breastfeed their children, helping to form the parental bonds needed to make people give a damn about their snotty little miracles. But one of the most fascinating effects of oxytocin is how it helps you to read your partner's mind. In a double-blind study of 30 volunteers, those people who were given extra oxytocin were able to better interpret visual cues from someone's eyes than those who were not. Oxytocin seems to help refine your senses and tune in to the needs of others. So if your other half ever complains that you just don't understand them, show them this video. They might put out. Obviously, this extrasensory perception wouldn't be much fun if you ended up betting the entire world. Which you will, since high levels of oxytocin and dopamine cause adultery and jealousy. As an already anxious individual, knowing how everyone is feeling could be the straw that breaks the horny camel's back. Although, high levels of oxytocin and dopamine are also known to cause compulsive behaviors like drug and alcohol abuse, so at least you'd be wasted throughout the ordeal. And let's face it, with all this love, you're gonna be mighty thirsty, that's for sure. Vasopressin is the second chemical released during the attachment phase of love, with this anti-diuretic released in huge amounts after sex. Normal amounts of vasopressin help you bond with your lover, but too much makes you super thirsty, extremely tired, and nauseated. So, to recap, if you fell in love with the whole world at once, you'd first feel an uncontrollable urge to sleep with everyone. Unfortunately, whether or not you resist this temptation, you're sure to end up a hyper-depressed, super-anxious psycho zombie who hasn't eaten or slept for weeks, and who reacts with the skills of a ninja whenever anyone tries to get close. Sounds like my girlfriend. Then, once your messed up brain chemicals have compelled you to knock boots with anyone and everyone, you'll be trapped in a vicious cycle where you feel too much, bang too much, and must drink to forget. Eventually, this overwhelming barrage of emotions, combined with the cost of Valentine's Day cards, will force you to set fire to your genitals in an alleyway and go and live on the moon. Phew, problem solved. Oh well. At least that little fact about oxytocin and sex helping you become a more understanding partner should get a few of you laid tonight. But if not, we've got plenty more weird sex facts to spurt on your curtains in our bonus video, Crazy Stupid Love, whose title we stole from a crappy rom-com and which you can watch on our Patreon page at patreon.com/strangemysteries. For a $2 a month pledge, which you can cancel at any time, you'll get to watch this and all of our bonus content, which goes deeper and darker into every topic than YouTube allows. If you don't want to donate, then that's bull.
We know you wanted more. Strange Mysteries on YouTube and our Patreon bonus videos weren't enough to quench your search for truth, to give you that sense of awe and wonder again, to go past what you thought was the end, to give you the answers you seek, but which only lead to more questions. That's why we just upped the stakes. Chemicals of reality. Reality, consciousness, brains. What else is there? Ask yourself that question. Perhaps that's all there really is, but perhaps everything else is found within a place where these ideas, these things, overlap. Some thing, some place that is undefinable. To many people, altering certain chemicals in their brains produces what they would simply call hallucinations. In fact, what we're going to discuss specifically used to be called the businessman's trip, as one could enjoy it. Come down and put your pants back on in the time it takes to eat lunch. It wasn't taken seriously, well, unless of course you started digging. And some people, including us, did. Already, though, to many people, this chemical is special amongst others. Very special. To them, it represents something more meaningful and incredible, as if it's the gateway to the next level of consciousness. The ticket to a higher reality barely explored by most humans. It is the entry point to a new reality, visited by only a select few, whose minds have become enlightened through the use of this exotic substance. For this reason, it's commonly referred to as the spirit molecule. But is its reputation as a mystical mind-opener deserved? Or is it, and everything it represents, just a load of bullshit? We look at, investigate, and dive deeply into nearly all available research regarding this question, from nearly every angle feasible. And in the course of doing so, stumble upon unexplainable patterns, correlations, and neurological evidence for a reality existing beyond this one. Watch this hour-long Strange Mysteries premium video, Chemicals of Reality, as well as many more to come by becoming an elite premium member of our Patreon at patreon.com/strangemysteries.